Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Emily back with another video. And today I'm going to be talking to you about how you need to nurture a child if in case you do want to work with children. And I'm giving you these tips because I've taken child development class before. So let's get started, guys. So when you nurture a child, there's a few things you need to know. And if you're working at a daycare, then you definitely need to know this. Or parents out there, if you definitely need to know this, these are tips that can definitely help you these are tips that can definitely help you when you do end up having a child. So number one, let's talk about how you need to burp, feed, or change a diaper. So when you burp a baby, whether it's if you're sitting down in a rocking chair, if you're feeding him, you always want to hold him. You always want to hold him level, meaning that your arms should be wrapped around his head. Your other arm should be under his tushy, meaning like your hand should be under his tushy. That way I can give him a seating place to sit. And also, if you need to, if you need to feed him, the same thing goes. Also, make sure when you're feeding him, hold the bottle level. Make sure that he's not choking on the bottle, because that would be, make sure that he's not choking, because sometimes feeding a baby can be a choking hazard. And, doing that, it can, like if you don't hold the bottle level and if you just keep stuffing it in his mouth, then he's going to choke. Also, you might want to give the baby a little break. If you do see that the baby is crying and is trying to get the milk out and doesn't want any more, immediately take the bottle out. You always want to take the bottle out so that way, so that way the baby doesn't get overstuffed, and like I told you, like he might choke if you keep the bottle in. So, unless he doesn't want any more, unless you hear a cough or a cry, and that he doesn't want anymore, and if you see him stop sucking, do not put the nipple further down his throat. You always want to take it out. Also, and so that's all I have to say about the feeding. Also, if you're breastfeeding and formula feeding and breastfeeding, I mean, they come with a bottle, but some parents do latch on, but I don't know anything about breastfeeding. All I know is just sometimes like you do it with a bottle, but with the bottle, all you know is just no choking. No, make sure the baby doesn't choke. Make sure no hazardous happens. All right, so now we're going to get into the sleeping technique. And usually it's really recommended for babies to sleep 2 to 3 hours, or 3 to 4 hours at the least, whenever they have their nap, okay? But when they are going down for a night's sleep, they need to be sleeping 12 hours, 12 hours each night, because that will give them, the opportunity, like they won't be fussy. So I'm going to talk to you about how you need to sleep a baby. Always, there are different ways you could put a baby to sleep. You can either rock him or her. You can just put him in the crib and she'll fall asleep, and it'll fall asleep by itself. Or you might need to take some other methods, like sometimes driving the baby around in the car might help. Or, like I told you, just rocking him or putting him in the swing or just putting nature sounds on. So I'm going to show you how all this works. And I'm in my cousin's nursery right now because I'm in Miami right now. But when you're putting a baby to sleep, let's pretend I have a baby here, which I have no baby. But when you're putting a baby down in the crib, you want to make sure that you have your pillow Pillow needs to be flat. Blanket needs to be flat. The blanket needs to be leveled on the baby. I'm not going to completely unfold it because my aunt just made this crib and I don't want her to get mad. But this is how it is. So, and then you just set your baby down. Make sure, do not just set the baby in there. You want to make sure that he is completely comfortable first before you set the baby in there. And also, to rock the baby, if you see the baby's getting fussy and you immediately remove all belongings from the rocking chair, and you sit down with the baby with the cradle hold, and you just rock him until he falls asleep. You don't want to rock him hard like this. You want to rock him gently and easily, and at a steady pace so that he won't get motion sick. But also, like, gentle rocking will make the baby sleepy. So just a few things we've gone over today for sleeping. Make sure that the baby is tucked up in his blanket, in his or her blanket. If you prefer to use a Snuggle Me, that's fine. And I know some parents, some babies do not want to sleep in their nursery. But if you do choose to have your baby next to you in his or her bassinet or his or her crib, just make sure the rocking chair is next to her. Also, if your baby hasn't adjusted to sleeping by himself in his own room, you might want to sit in the rocking chair next to him, which the rocking chair is right next to the crib. So if the baby were in this crib, then the mom or dad would sit in the rocking chair and would, just keep an eye out. If he does get fussy, you might want to pick him up and rock him. At least rock him to sleep, or just sing him to sleep. Also, there's this thing called a baby hatch. My aunt has it in my cousin's nursery. My baby cousin's name is Dawson. He's a year old. But this is a baby hatch. When you touch it, it plays nature sounds, and that will help the baby sleep. So I think that's pink noise or white noise, but this will help the baby sleep. So just keep that in mind. Anyways, that's all I have for you guys today on how to nurture a newborn baby. And also as well as a 1-year-old too, because they're considered babies and small toddlers. So thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to like and subscribe and leave in the comments below if you liked this video or not, or if this video was helpful to you. Bye.